Hey, I was gonna sit down and I was gonna get my nice camera and I was gonna get all my lights and put together this big elaborate video, but for this video it just didn't exactly seem genuine, so I kind of just got my laptop, got a light, sitting on the edge of my bed, and I'm just gonna tell you guys a little bit of a story. Starting off when I was a very, very little kid, I realized amongst everybody else that was ever around me that I was very different. I wasn't exactly your typical boy. I grew up with two sisters, and growing up, I was always more clinged to women. You know what I mean? I would always want to be hanging out with the girls. I'd always want to be gossiping with the girls. I'd always want to be talking about girly things. What are the girls up to? You know what I mean? I was never that guy that was into the Power Rangers and into the sports and into this and into that. And I wasn't into them. And as time went on, and as I got older, people started to pick up on the fact that I was different. People started realizing that I wasn't like all the other guys around me. I wasn't paying all of my attention to the girls. I wasn't playing sports. I wasn't hanging out with the bros. I wasn't doing all of the typical boy things. Because for me, those things just never interested me. I would try so hard to get interested by them, but I'd get so bored so quick. I remember being 8 or 9 years old and looking at myself in the mirror and just wondering why I stood out so much. Why it never seemed that I could ever just blend into the background. See, growing up, and even now, I still have such a big personality that when I'm in a group of people, I tend to stand out because I'm loud, I talk with my hands a lot, and I project, and I grab people's attention. So typically, it's hard for me to not stand out in a group of people because I'm a very outgoing person, and that's always been, a great trait of mine. And it's also been, a big hit of mine as well because it's caused me a lot of problems throughout my entire life. I remember being in third grade and a kid coming up to me and asking, "Are you gay?" And at that point in time, I'm almost positive I didn't even understand what the word gay meant. But I knew that whatever it was, that it wasn't good because the way that the kid said it made it sound like it really wasn't a good thing. So whatever it meant at that point in time, I didn't want to be that. So I was very quick to say no. And as time progressed, kids started getting meaner and meaner. I went from loving to going to school to hating it so quick. I despised going to school. I would go to my counselors and I would say, "Hey, these kids are picking on me. Tell them to stop." First couple times they would, and the kids wouldn't stop. I'd go back. And then after a certain period of time, my counselor started to look at me and go, "So, Mr. Calamaris, I'm starting to wonder. You have a lot of problems with a lot of people. I'm starting to wonder, is the problem them or is the problem you?" And after I was told that at a very young age, that really sat on my conscience forever. And it made me realize even more at that point in time that I was different. And as time progressed, I started to realize that I wasn't looking at girls at all. Guys would make comments like, "Oh, look at her ass, look at her butt. She's got nice boobs." Like, I didn't look. I didn't care to. It didn't even interest me. I wasn't looking at the girls. Instead, I was looking at the boys with the girls. So I was pretty flamboyant. I have some flamboyant tendencies about me, so it was not very shocking for a lot of people. But, throughout middle school, I got bullied so bad. I was tortured. I mean, I was verbally assaulted. I was physically assaulted on multiple occasions. I mean, I'd get in trouble and I'd get suspended for literally defending myself for all the kids that were just constantly picking on me. I mean, even at one point in time, my teachers even started to pick on me because I was just the class joke. As time progressed, I went from being a happy-go-lucky kid to really just being nasty and hating the world around me because people were pointing out things about myself that I couldn't come to terms with and that I had no control over, and they were making fun of me for things that I couldn't even help. And at this point in time, I wasn't even out of the closet. So obviously I couldn't say anything, I couldn't do anything but sit there and go, I'm not gay, I'm not gay, I'm not this, and just try to defend myself. But there was no sense of it. It was just continuous. And then as time went on, I started getting tired of it. I started becoming a very nasty, negative person. If if you are someone who knows me personally and you're watching this video and you've known me for years, I can almost guarantee you that if I were to ask you and you were to really think back and look on it, when I was a younger kid, I was very, very friendly to everyone. And as time progressed, I started getting nasty. I started getting spiteful and angry. And I started to lash out on everyone around me. And the reason why that was is because I was so tired of it. I was so tired of being treated the way that I was. I was tired of being taken advantage of because I was the nice guy. So I stopped being the nice guy. I started being the bad guy. Some people loved it because it was entertainment. Some people hated it because they thought I was an asshole. And the truth of the matter is I was an asshole. And my reasoning for that gives me no excuse whatsoever for my behavior or the things that I may have said to people. But watching this video, if you do know me personally, I want you to realize this. I was going through a lot of inner battles within myself. And a lot of the people that were around me made it very hard. And some people especially made it even harder for me to come to terms within myself. Now on the opposite side of the coin, ever since I was younger, I knew that I was gay, as I just said. But when I was in high school, my sister ended up coming out of the closet as a lesbian. It kind of threw me for a loop. I mean, I had some suspicions, obviously, but I never really paid too much attention to it. I joke about it, but I never was serious about it. And I kind of just picked on my sister because I was very insecure about myself at the time. And looking back now, I feel absolutely awful for all the comments I would make because they weren't right. I was just insecure and I was just lashing out on someone else. She ended up coming out of the closet, which was great, and it was also a bad thing in a lot of ways for me because I had this sense of guilt now because I really so badly wanted to come out of the closet, but I felt as though because she was out, I couldn't come out because I didn't want my parents to have two gay kids. What would they do if they had two gay kids? Because they always expected that I was going to be the gay one, not Sierra. So that sat in my head and on my conscience because I didn't want to, ruin all my parents' hopes and dreams of having grandkids because that's what everyone assumes whenever you come out of the closet is that you're not going to have kids, So I was nervous. And I didn't want to come out of the closet. And I felt guilty. And then this past year came around and I started hitting a really dark low. In middle school, I started hurting myself because of the harassment that I was facing. I was hurting myself and people around me, my friends and family, had no clue. I attempted to kill myself on a couple of occasions. And that was purely because I genuinely hated myself. And I was really good about hiding it. If you ask anybody, I was always just smiling, cackling, or laughing. But deep down, I was hurting really bad. And I was really starting to get tired of hurting. One day I looked at myself in the mirror and I told myself, you need to do this. So I did. I sat down with my first friend and I gave her a note because I just couldn't even read it out loud or say it out loud at that point in time. She read it. She gave me a hug. Told me that she loved me, and that gave me enough courage to go to my next friend and my next friend and my next friend, and I got the same exact reaction every single time, that they loved me, that they accepted me, and that I was who I was, and that they were going to be there for me through everything and for everything, and no matter what I did, no matter what I went after, it didn't matter to them. And that right there was enough for me to feel confident to come out to my family. So I did. I came out to my family. I sat down with my mom and I told her, I said, hey mom, and I told her. And then I sat down with my dad, and that was hard, but I sat my dad down and I said, Dad, I like guys. And my dad looked at me and my dad said, you know what? Cool. I love you. I don't care. You love who you love. I just want you happy and healthy, and that's what matters to me. And if that's what it is, then that's what it is. And hearing those words are exactly what I wanted and what I needed. But there's also one big part about the story that I want to tell you guys about. It's kind of a big deal. So, 1 second. In a very short time period, within a couple of months of me coming out socially with friends, I started talking to some people, and then I stumbled upon one person that absolutely stole my heart in the best way possible. His name's Austin. He's a really good guy. I don't know if you guys have ever had that moment where, someone walks into the room and your heart skips a beat, but, that's this one right here. You kinda can't see it. But, I met someone that makes me really happy. And I've never in my entire life been so happy. I met someone that treats me so special and loves me so much, and I love him too. And it's crazy because if I would have told myself at 12 years old, if I could tell myself one thing, was that give it a little bit of time. You're gonna meet someone who makes you feel loved and special, and they're gonna give you the world. As my man does. I'm gonna end this video with the most cliche thing ever, and I just wanted to say that it gets better. Boy, does it get better. And when it gets better, let me tell you, honey, does it get better. Do y'all see him? He is fine as hell. He is one fine specimen. Let me tell you. Anyways, my advice to anybody who's watching this video, if you are someone who is struggling to come out of the closet, you take your time. You have your journey. Find yourself, discover yourself, love yourself. Take your time. Find the time, the safe space, the safe time to do it. Come out and accept yourself. Because I'm telling you right now, goddamn, you have one life to live, and if you live it in fear, don't waste it. Don't waste it. So I'm telling you right now, this year has been full of ups and downs, but let me tell you this. I wouldn't take back one of those ups, and I would not take back one of those downs because they have taught me everything. Every day is a lesson. Every day is a blessing. Every day. Never take advantage of that, because I know, goddamn, I never will again. I am genuinely the happiest I've ever been. I'm happy to wake up in the morning. And you know what? I actually love myself. Who knew? But back to the cliche saying, it gets better. Bye, guys.